So what is it? Do you tell new playwrights coming into a taste of theater? What is it that you tell new playwrights when they're just coming into a taste of theater and to learning from you the craft of playwright? What do you tell them about the financial issue about this business?
This right here is a rewarding business, and I also say that this is a ministry. God has given you a story and only you, and do not change that vision that He gave. And as far as the monetary side, make sure you save your money. And if you're going to get investors or you're going to go out and get funding from other sources, don't promise them that they'll get their money back. Otherwise, what happens when you make a promise of that nature and no one shows up but 10, 15 people?
Do you feel, I'm going to ask you and Lynn this question. Do you feel that you should start off with your first play by paying people getting into the play, or should they just take it as learning craft? Or what would you say?
I'll let Lynn answer that one first.
Lynn?
Well, okay, I would. Now, if it was my very first play, I did not pay anybody. Because, again, I'm learning. People are trying to figure out who I am. And you get people who can just draw people in that, their family will come and, pay the $5 or $6. As you start to grow and as you really want to start to branch out, when you need a name, it depends on how far you really want to take it. If it's just a hobby to you, you can find people, at Columbia College, you can find active students that'll do it just for, the credit. You can still find that once you get a named person in your cast, but it just gives more integrity to the theater goers when they see a name that they can recognize. Now, let me tell you something. People have been doing this thing. I'm not gonna name any names, but there have been people that have been coming in from these old TV shows and stuff, and then they'll give these people $4,000-$5,000 to come and do a walk-in. Lynn ain't doing that one. I mean, you $5,000, you're gonna walk, talk, eat. You're going to be out there selling tickets. I'm sorry. I don't care because you was on. They ain't going to say that. But anyway, so to me, and then some of them really are better television actors than they are theater actors. So if it's the first show, my first show is, I'm not looking forward to, I'm not $50,000 in. No, I'm not going to pay you. But it's to be larger, and I want my crowd to grow. If I'm at the Airy Crown, I got to bring somebody in.
Okay. What about that, Mr. Gully?
Huh?
Mr. Gully, Victor?
Yes.
Okay. I hear you. You listening to us live on the radio, so there's a little delay back there. What do you feel for financial? Do you feel that a playwright should come into this industry as a single person, or should they come into this industry as a married person? Because we're talking about finances, and you coming out your own pocket, and if you don't have an investor, how does that affect your home life as a playwright?
Are you asking me or just because I still think that
because if you're single, if you're dating someone, you're gonna need their help, or even if you have parents, families, and friends, it's going to affect their lives too, because you're going to be asking for their support, not just with finances, but also asking for their time. And of course, their support can come in by buying tickets. And if you're married, yes, you want to be supportive of your spouse. So you have to draw a line and say, okay, if this is what it costs us to meet all of our bills, we don't spend anything over that.
Okay.
And you just have to draw that line, because it's easy to spend money, especially on advertising. That's one piece I forgot to mention. You've got to let people know that your show is coming out there. You've got to spend money on the image that people will recognize as your product as well.
Do you do the Taste of Theater, or do you have a breakdown for new playwrights, like a guide, or have you written a guide or put together a guide and breaking it down like a content of saying, this is what advertising costs, this is what your sound person costs, your lighting, even you mentioned different venues. What about churches? Is it easier to work with churches or schools, or do they still charge you basically almost on the same range as a Airy Crown or a Regal or ETA Theater?
Actually, churches vary. Some are free, and others do charge. Like I did a show on the west side in a church, and it was almost $2,000 to rent their facility. And I said this best. So when you are in a venue like a church, where things you could normally do on a stage, you may not be able to do in a church. And if you have certain content in your play, you may not be able to do that in a church.
So that means you have to change your whole entire production up. Is that the case, Lynn?
Okay, what was changed? I didn't hear the last he said.
I said, so I'll take it that you have to change your whole entire production up when you do something that's inside of a church that you would normally do in a theater due to the content?
Well, I told you what I did. So, well, you have to change the creative concept. Like you may have to, or you're going to have to rent what you need. If the church, take you renting a lighting truss, and then you run stuff from there. Most churches and halls aren't set up to do theatrical productions to the level that it takes when you're doing a stage play where there's a little bit of intimacy. So you may bring the lights down stage left, and then there's this big, group of people coming in. You bring your lights up. You know what I'm saying? So, and the different effects you can do with the lights. A lot of theaters, unless you go like the House of Hope or someplace.
Well, I'm gonna help y'all out. If y'all need somebody with lighting experience, hint, hint. No, that's a little shameless plug. If y'all want a qualified lighting or sound man, hint, hint, who has the equipment, hint, hint, that doesn't have to go out to different stage rental places, hint, hint. I'm not trying. That was a little shameless plug, hint, hint. But anyway,
if you can take that, because that information is always needed. I always have people reaching out to me asking about lighting and sound guys primarily because that's a need. People undercut the value of a very good lighting director and a darn good sound. Oh my God! I come to a theater, I want to see and hear. I'm sorry, I need some lights. But to get back on the part where you're talking about the family scenario, let me just say to you that the first few serious plays that I did, I kind of emptied out my account and my husband's account and my mother-in-law's account and my mother's account. I kind of emptied it out. And it's just by the grace of God that everybody still loves me and will still let me walk with them. Now, part of the reason why I even went into writing the book series of what I'm doing, of Heart's Desire, because Heart's Desire was the story that just started with me. I wrote it because I was thinking of doing more plays, okay? And then I'm thinking, wait, I'm already in debt, up to the head, but that is not stopping the creative juices in my head. I still have stories in me that have to come out, but I don't have the $5,000 to get this play up and going and to lock in. And so I just started writing. I had a friend of mine we were going to shoot this as a TV series as opposed to doing it as a play. So we're going to shoot this TV series, and then I had a guy, give me a quote on how much it was going to be. I'm like, sure, I might as well do a play. It won't pay that much. But then we're like, let's do it as a web series. Well, we would have been on for a couple years on one chapter of my book. So I was like, you know what, let me just write it and put it out there and see what happens. So that's kind of how I even got into the old self-publishing scenario. But now let me tell you, let's go right back before you get off the air with me. Heart Desire is a stage play that I wrote back in 2004. And at the time, I was with a production company, Holy House Productions, and I was the director, she was the producer, Carolyn Richards. And so she would find the money, I was just doing the play. I would write and find the people to do that, and then she would find the money. And so we had like Ken Jones, Dan Devine. We were at the, that place on 79th, and oh my God. Anyway, we paid like $16,000 to $17,000. To do it, we did one show, which is why I said this was my lesson. Like, you never spend that kind of money and do one show. You never get your money back.
I'm gonna say this to both of you, to Mr. Victor Gully, because I give you high praises on your craft and what you do. I would never get into what you're doing after even hearing from you two what the financial issue is, because I'm gonna ask you this. Sports has a lifespan. Everything has a lifespan. As you can see with Derrick Rose, his lifespan is coming to a close end real soon as a young person. What is the lifespan? I'm gonna ask Mr. Gully, and then I want you, Lynn, to respond. What is the lifespan for a playwright?
It depends on the story. It could be, if it's a story no one wants to hear about, it could be as short as one show. Or if it's a story that people really want to hear, you can run that story for years. Like Blue Man Group has been running for years. Tony and Tina's Wedding ran for at least 10 years here in Chicago. So it just depends how good the story is. Because ultimately people will pay to see it, just like I never thought The Color Purple would still be around some almost 30 years later, and same with Star Wars, but it's a good story. That's why people still want to go see it.
Okay. Now, as a playwright, can a playwright get burnt out? A director get burnt out from doing this craft? You're laughing.
I think the industry, you can let the industry, as with anything else, I think you let the industry burn you out. I think if you have, exactly what I was saying, the story I wrote has been in my head forever, and I keep pulling off of it. As long as somebody says, oh, I like that, I'm going to keep writing. My best motivation is somebody who I trust, and they say to me, I love that story. Then I'm going to finish it. I'm going to write another one. So it depends on how your circle. Now, let me say, if a person gets burnt out, I think it is a valuable tool with anything, like not just a writing plays or anything, to stop, pause, and reflect, and get back up if that's what you're supposed to do. Because you're going to end in life, you have those moments where it flatlines. And the passion, if you have the passion and if this is your gift and your talent and your love, you'll come back to it. That's what almost anything. Like I think we need to stop looking at stuff in a moment of fear all the time. I think we need to just go ahead and Steve Harvey said it best, that you won't soar unless you jump. Sometimes you just got to take the leap. And when you burn out, as like I said, with anything in life, when you burn out, give your body and mind a moment to refresh and then go back into it. You know what I'm saying? I know I went through everybody in my family's money. I know I did. I know I broke everybody. I know everybody's credit is messed up because of me. But they love me enough to keep believing and trusting in me, and it's a good story. And so they keep on doing the Fred Flintstone thing with me. Oh, she got another invention. Oh, she got another story. Oh, and so they keep believing in me. And so to me, and I know it's something, a gift that God gave me as a tool of ministry. You know what I'm saying? What I write, I was going to tell you, Mr. Rob, was that, like, in Heart Desire, after I wrote it and went through all of that, and we spent all that money, and it was a blessing, okay? We added a story of domestic violence in it because one of my friends lost her sister